Hey there, this is Red. It's time for another episode of Red Plays. All right, so we are into our Age of Fantasy Skirmish campaign and we're getting ready for round two. And I decided to make a change. So the beta stats for 2.5 are out, and I wasn't sure whether I wanted to use them for this campaign or not, but between game number one and game number two, I've decided to go ahead and use the 2.5 beta stuff. Now, the note there is that the beta stuff isn't locked in stone yet. That's kind of what beta is, right? So these aren't the end all stats for the things that are out there, but they're thinking they're kind of in the realm at this point in time, and I think we're pretty close to where things are going to end up at. So I thought I'd switch over, make a use of those, and that's going to make some differences in the forces that I'm using. All right, so let's take a look at some of the forces that I used in the first game and talk about the upgrades that I got. So first guy we'll talk about is our brute. So the brute that we've got out there, that was the first game. He was a 3-4, and his equivalent stats in 2.5, I haven't made cards yet. He's still costing 55 points. He's got a little bit better on the defense side. His attack goes down, but he gets AP too, so he gets a little bit better armor piercing with one less die. So, and his defense is better. So at same cost, not too big of a change. So what I did for the brute coming into this game is no changes. So he's going to look exactly the same, be the same dude, just bring his bad self to the board. All right. The next one we're going to take a look at is our Beast Lord here. So Beast Lord, first game around, he was 3 quality, 3 defense, and he cost 55 points. I got him a little bit of an upgrade if I remember right. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, and I can't. So yeah, I think I gave him 2 hand weapons the first time around. But for this go, so the first time around, if you take a look, his point value went up, but I did give him dual hand weapons right off the bat here, and his total point cost is higher than he started off with. So what we're looking at for this round is not going to make any changes to him. So we're still looking at 3 quality, 3 defense. He's going to be throwing 6 dice. He's got armor piercing 1 though, so he's going to get through the armor just a little bit better. But his cost has also gone up too. All right, so this is where, if you remember after the end of the last game, the Beastmen got 20 more points to spend. So they're going to end up at 100 and, let's see here. So we've got 70 plus 55 plus 45. We're going to end up at 160. We're going to actually end up that way on both sides. Let's see, did I do my math right there? 55. No, we're going to end up at 170 on both sides. All right, the biggest change from game 1 to game 2 is going to be our Centaur. So there's our Centaur. All right. So first game, he was a 3-4. He had some hand weapons. Now in 2.5, his quality is a little bit worse. He gets a lance that's got impact 1 like he had before, but he's only got attack 1. Crazed changes around a little bit. Instead of 3 results, there's only 2 results on Crazed at this point in time. And his fast is going to change. So he's going to go from being able to move 18 inches when he was charging to he only gets plus 4 inches. So he's only moved 16 inches. So it's a little bit less. He's not going to be quite as fast in this version. So the big change that I've got for him between game 1 and game 2 is this is where a bunch of my points went. I'm going to drop and give him Shaman. So he's going to be able to throw some wizard spells now. So not only is he going to be fast moving, he's going to be fast moving and he's going to be throwing spells. So we'll see if that helps counteract some of the stuff that's going over on the Mummified Undead side. All right, so let's talk about the Mummified Undead. On the Mummified Undead side, one of the groups we had were the 3 Daryls. So Daryl. All right, so we got our 3 Daryls. Take a look at the skeletons in the old rules. So you have Mummified Undead there, and they're 5/5, attack 1, pretty basic, right? So in the new rules, they're pretty much the same. 5/5, attack 1, same cost, not much of a change. And for this second game, I gave them just a little bit of an upgrade. I'm going to give them Phalanx. So the good thing about Phalanx is that when things charge in, they lose their charge attack, which means that on the Beastmen side, almost all of them have Furious as they come in and get that extra die. That's going to negate that against the Skeleton Warriors. It'll still be pretty crunchy, but it's going to make them just a touch less crunchy. Also, you have to take a hazard check once you run into them, so might actually want to stay away from the skeletons going into this game. We'll have to see how that works out. I think Phalanx is going to be really big in the 2.5 version. We shall see. Okay, so we're going to take those guys out. Let's talk about a Guardian statue. The Guardian statue last game, he was a 3/4, tough undead. I threw some good stuff at him to make him regenerate, the Stone Shaper stuff. So what he looks like in 2.5 is he's still got the same quality and defense. And like some of the other ones, his number of attack dice go down, but he's getting armor piercing at this point in time. So he's going to get through things a lot easier. Still got the tough 3 attached to him. And then if we take a look at what I'm doing with him, give him a slight upgrade. We're going to give him dual hand weapons, and that's going to take him up to attack 4. So he had attack 2, he's going to go up to attack 4. But he's only got armor piercing 1 because in his other one, he had a great weapon that he started with. He's going to have 4 dice, AP 1. I'm not sure if that's a great choice instead of the 2 dice, AP 3, but I guess we'll see how that works out. So he went up to dual hand weapons. All right, big change between the earlier version and the new version was the earlier version, I had a priest. And that was the guy that I had right there. I had a mummy priest. Well, there's not really exactly the same thing in 2.5. In 2.5, what you do is you take your royal champion, which looks like that guy right there. At least that's what I use to represent him. Your royal champion looks like that. All right, and you give him priest. So what's going to end up happening is I'm spending a lot more points on him. If we take a look at what he's going to get, he's going to end up with much better attack. His quality and defense go way up. So he's going to be much tougher to deal with in a hand-to-hand situation than the old priest was. So it's kind of like this was more of like the light healing priest that kind of stayed at the back, and this is more like our battle priest that's just wading into battle and swinging. So that was the number 2 version of the priest there. The number 1 version I had kind of just the same, because really I got to throw a bunch of points into just the champion, and then I need to add wizard on top of it. So we end up with a little bit different on the Mummified Undead side, but it's still pretty much the same. And in the end, what we've got is we've got 2 170-point teams that are going to end up going at each other. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get the table ready, figure out which mission that we're doing, and then we'll get started with round 1. This round ends up being King of the Hill. So we got our table prepared. We set up 1 objective marker for each opponent on the battlefield. The objective markers need to be 9 inches away from the deployment zones and the edge of the tables. And then after 4 rounds, the player that has seized the most markers wins. So what we're going to end up in is really, this is going to be kind of a duke it out game at this point in time. And I've got a feeling that the Mummified Undead kind of have an advantage here with the Phalanx and the Tough. So I think they're going to end up doing a little bit better. So I'm going to have to figure out how to place all of this correctly. Part of the strategy, I think, on the Beastmen side, so my mobility on my Centaur isn't going to do a whole lot of good. So I think he's going to be sitting in the back and flinging spells and making sure he can get into range but not get beat up. our Beast Lord and our Brute are just going to need to wade into battle and try to take some things out. Now, the skeletons with the phalanx make it a little bit tougher, so that leaves both the Guardian statue, who's got regeneration at this point in time, makes him tough to take down, but that Royal Champion is probably going to be the main target to take out. Now, on the Mummified Undead side, they're going to want to potentially, if they can take out that Centaur, that would be fantastic. I think they're going to leave the skeletons to hang back and guard that other point and send the other two off to go fight and try to take everybody else out. So should play out fairly interestingly. Now, the other part of that is you roll for special objectives for the two groups. So the special objectives ended up being, let's see if I can find it real fast. So for the Beastmen, they have Honor, which says no enemy units in their own no enemy units in your own deploy zone at the end. So that could be something that the Mummified Undead try to mess up at the end. That means they need to save enough units at the end they can rush over and do that. And then the Mummified Undead got casting, which should be fairly easy. It's at least one attempt to cast or block a spell per round. I think they should be able to get that one. They should be able to hit their objective. All right, so we're gonna get ready to go here. I think we're gonna have our Centaur is gonna move first, and he can move. He can do a charge, so he can do 12 plus 4, so that means he can move 16 at this point in time. So I think we'll move. So he can come up here and then skirt around a little bit. I think we'll move him in the back. Right over here. Actually, before he moves, we should probably cast a spell. So let's take a look at what our new spell selection is. Now that we've got wizard spells on the Beastmen side. So on the Beastmen side, we've got Spirit Mantle. That's not going to help them a whole lot. And we can do some damage. No. Target friendly unit within 12 may immediately move up to 3. I don't know that that 3-inch boost is going to do us anything. Target enemy unit within 12 takes 4. Yeah, we don't want to do that. Target enemy unit, target 2 enemy units. So most of his stuff is kind of attacky with a little bit of a charge in there. And he's not going to get shot at. We don't really have any ranged weapons, so his spells don't do a lot of good right now. So I guess we'll just hold off on spells and we'll move him right on up there. And we'll say that he's moved. All right, I'm going to go move some skeletons. In this first round, there's not going to be really a whole lot of combat because we all have to move within range of each other. So we'll do some moving and then we'll get to the combat next round. But first, I need to go move some skeletons around. Skeletons have moved up. Now it's time to move someone else over here on the Beastman side. I'm just going to move our Brute. We're just going to get our Brute right up in there so he can get into some combat here. So let's move him right on up to there. Get him ready to go. And then we need to go move another Mummified Undead unit. The Guardian statue is definitely leading the charge in this one. And we have our Beast Lord following here behind our big old Brute. Get in pretty close behind him. Need to maintain that 1-inch space there. Get him good to go. And then it's time to move our Royal Champion over there now with the priestly powers and get him up under range and then figure out which spell he's going to drop. He's probably going to drop some sort of regeneration. I think we'll be doing our protection spell, which is this one right there. I think we'll be dropping that one on our little skeleton buddies there. So he's moved up, but now I need to make my choice. So looking at the spells I've got to cast there, I could drop a protection, which is what I was thinking on my skeletons there. But I also have This brute right here is within 12 inches at this point in time, so I could go at him with one of the other spells that are on there. So a smiting may be helpful for our statue that's going to go into... Well, he can't quite reach the brute. I don't think he's quite far enough. 6 inches. Yeah, he's not quite. Yeah, he wouldn't quite make it. So there's no running into combat, and it's going to be tougher to hit. We don't have Wizard 2. We've only got Wizard 1 at this point in time. So I think maybe we go after this Storm of Skulls. We could do the Blade Curse and give our... Maybe that's the thing to do. +1 to melee rolls next time it fights. So we could do that on our statue there and give him a little bit of badassery going into combat there. So I'm really torn at this point in time. Do we Blade Curse or do we Storm of Skulls? I think we're going to do the Storm of Skulls. So we're going to do target within 12 units. We'll target, or 12 inches, sorry, take 2 automatic hits with AP2. So we're going to throw this at the brute right there. So it's going to hit him with armor piercing 2. If we take a look at our brute, he's got a defense of 5 or 3+. So he's going to, with armor piercing 2, that means he's going to need to roll 5 pluses to defend against that. So let's get these dice out of here. We have to roll 2 dice and see what we come up with. All right. 5 pluses. No, he takes 2 hits. All right, so our brute's going to take 2 hits right off the bat. He's got a toughness of 3, so that doesn't knock him out. You don't have to check for stunned or anything, but he's wounded coming into battle, and that's just a little bit of a problem. All right, so that's going to end that round. Mummified Undead got first blood that go round, and it's going to get, there's going to be a lot of carnage in the next round, I think. So we'll get set up for round 2 and get her rolling. All right, set up for round 2. We have the Beastmen have captured this point. The Mummified Undead have captured that point there. Our brute, sorry, my brain skipped for a second there. Our brute has taken a couple of hits. Our Phalanx setup is in the back there. We didn't buff anybody with any spells, but I think those 2 hits are going to make a big difference in this game. Now, I've got my Centaur back here, and he's kind of hanging out. Since the Mummified Undead went last, that means that the Beastmen get to go first. And I'm wondering if I should have that Centaur pop out and get in range to cast a spell. So to cast a spell, he can cast over the water here, and he can hit about anybody that's out there. So I think that's what he's going to do, is we're going to start there. We're going to move up to about here, and we're going to throw a spell before we're done. So which spell are we going to throw here? So the great thing about this is we have all sorts of attack spells. So we've got 4 automatic hits with AP1 if we can hit a 5+. And we can do 1 automatic hit with AP2. I don't think I want to go there. I do like the idea of 4 automatic hits with AP1. If I could pull that off on the skeletons, that would be some serious damage there. And they happen to be in range. So we're going to hit those skeletons with we're going to try the Vile Swarm. So got to hit a little bit high there. I need a 5+. So that means I'm going to need to roll more than a 4. So let's see if we can roll a Vile Swarm. All right, so we need to get Vile Swarm is a 5+. So I have Wizard 1, and I get a 1, 2. Oh, I don't pull it off. So Centaur moves up, and then he's done for the round. Okay. At that point, we're over to the Mummified Undead, and this is where the dice chucking is going to start happening. So, going to move, probably, I think we'll move our, yeah, I think it's going to be the Guardian statue is going to jump up there first, and we'll start this bloodbath a-going. The Guardian statue has moved on up into range there. Take a look at him. Yeah, he's ready to take that brute on. So let's see what happens here. We take a look at our Guardian statue. So our Guardian statue, he's going to have a quality of 3. So we're going to throw 4 dice with armor piercing 1. He's going to have Furious, so he's charging into battle. So that means he's going to get to throw 5 dice. All right, it's not looking all that great for the brute. Let's see what happens. 5 dice, 2, 3, 4, 5. Armor piercing 1. So first we have to hit. We've got a quality of 3, so 3 plus is hit. Take this out, so that's 3 hits. All right, armor piercing 1 on our brute, so he's got a defense of 3. So let's see what happens here. So that means he's going to need 4s or better to defend. And he got 2 defenses, so he takes 1 hit. All right, that moves him up to 3, which is his tough value. So that means at that point in time, I got to roll to see whether he's stunned or knocked out. I'm going to grab my little rules here. We'll make sure we're looking at tough right. Oh, I did roll for random events, and we haven't got any random events yet. So I am remembering to do that. It's just nothing has happened quite yet. So maybe a little bit on the boring side for the randomness, but maybe it'll happen here in the future. All right. So double check our tough rule. Tough rule says the model only rolls to see what happens for wounds once it has taken at least X wounds, and we're tough 3, so we hit X. Is only knocked out on rolls of 5 plus X or more. When stunned by hitting or shooting, blah, blah, blah. We don't really care about the rest of that. Okay. So we're going to take a roll here. So we're going to add 3. We get knocked out on a 8 or more. So 4 plus 3 is 7. We're not knocked out. We are stunned. All right, which means we don't get a retaliatory attack. And that also means that we have to back off an inch. All right. Now, interestingly, we've kind of clogged that lane there. I'm not sure that we're going to be able to get other folks through there. We'll have to see. All right. So that's going to be the end of that statue's turn. Doesn't have to worry about a retaliatory attack. All right, so next up is going to be the Beastmen turn. And what I don't want to have happen is I don't want to have that brute automatically knocked out. So we're going to use his turn to stand back up and be unstunned. And then we're back over to the Mummified Undead's turn. All right, so Mummified Undead. Let's see here. So actually, I could try a smiting. If I do a smiting, my statue would get to charge back into battle again. I've got a range of 12, so I can hit the statue. He could charge back into battle again. And maybe take out that Beast Lord. Or sorry, that Brute. Getting the Beast Lord and the Brute mixed up. Too many B's on the Beastmen side. Could try. I think we're going to give that a go. We're going to try to hit the Guardian statue with smiting. So smiting says target friendly unit within 12 inches may immediately charge up to 6 and get +1 to hit for that melee. I guess the other thing, it would be but I'm going to have to roll a 5 or a 6 in order to get that. So my odds are not fantastic. If I go back to the Storm of Skulls again, I could throw that again, and he's within 12 inches. If he takes 2 automatic hits at AP2, he's likely going to fail one of those armor rolls, and then he's going to be stunned likely, well, he'll be stunned, possibly knocked out. So I think, actually, let's do that. Let's go with the Storm of Skulls. We need a 4+ to drop a Storm of Skulls. So we got Wizard 1, so a 3 or better is going to do it for us. Oh, and we got a 2, so we did not pull off our Storm of Skulls. All right, didn't happen. So now we got to figure out what we're going to do, and I'm going to see how I can finagle his movement and see if I can get him in somewhere. So give me a couple moments just to move him around. So I had the Royal Champion charge all the way up here into combat. So with the space that was backed off, I'm able to get my Royal Champion in and to the side a little bit, and he can get in there. So let's take a look at that. There we go. So he's kind of wedged himself in there, off and to the right a little bit in front of that house. And he's going to go after the brute now. All right, so this likely is going to end up being the end of the brute. All right, so what we've got there is we've got attack of 3 with an armor piercing of 1. So let's see what he can do here. He's got 3 dice. 3 dice, AP 1. He hits on a quality of 3, so we need 3s or better. And we get 2 hits. All right, so the brute, he's got a defense of 3. And I said it right that time. I didn't say Beast Lord. That's the brute. He's got a defense of 3. See what he can come up with. Ooh, he took a hit. All right, 1 hit. So that's going to crank him up to 4. 4 on the chart. And then we need to make a roll. So it's tough. And if we get 8 or better, then we're out. So 1 plus 4 is 5. He's still not out, but he's stunned yet again. All right, so that's the end of the Royal Champion's turn. He's going to have to back off an inch, and then we go back over to our Beastmen side. So let me get that all arranged. I kind of got to get up over things to do that. The houses are right in my way here. I can't simply reach there. So move that around and we'll get ready to figure out what the Beast Lord is going to do. Okay, so next off, I've got the Beast Lord getting into the fray. And you can't really see it from the overhead there. That's why we got our little side camera here. You can get in there, and he's kind of gone up and around the edge to take on that Royal Champion. And see if they can take each other out there. So, all right, let's see what we got. So we have our Beast Lord here. He's got 3 quality, so he's hitting on 3 pluses. He's got an attack of 6, so we're rolling 6 dice, hitting on 3 pluses. We can get an extra attack because we've got Furious. So we're throwing 7 dice and trying to hit on 3s or better. So let's grab 7 dice, 4, 5, 6, 7. Whoop, 7. And we hit on 3s or better. Oh, we have AP1 also, so we got to remember that. 7 dice. All right. 3s or better mean that this goes away and everything else is a hit. So 6 hits, AP1. The defense on the Royal Champion is a 4. So he's going to need 5s or better. All right. So he's going to take out 2 of them, but that means he takes 4 hits. All right, 4 hits on our champion over there. And he's back around the side somewhere, like right about here, maybe. Something like that. All right, so that's going to surpass his toughness of 3. We're going to roll to see what happens. So he's got 4 hits, plus 6. Oh, he's automatically knocked out. All right, Beast Lord's coming in there, kind of saving the day by knocking the Royal Champion out. So we have our first knockout of the round. Royal Champion's out. So we'll sideline him over here. And then we still need to do something with the skeletons. Also, I can move up to 3 more inches now that I took him out. So I'm going to get back on the other side of this house here and rearrange everything. And then we'll get over to the skeleton's turn. So what I decided to do was go ahead and rush in with the skeletons. Since the brute is already stunned, I can rush my skeletons in there. And there's just kind of this big pileup going on right there at the brute right now. So it's kind of messy, but we got a lot of action going on there. Skeletons can get in there. They're going to take out the brute because the brute is stunned. So automatically when they attack him, he's taken out. So brute's gone now. And the skeletons get to move up to 3 more inches after that. So I'm going to go ahead and move them there 3 inches. And then I'll get set up for round number 3. Okay, we're set up for round number 3. Now the 2 points are still under the same control. We've lost the brute and we've lost our champion over there. But we've got our centaur and our beast lord and then our skeletons and our statue still sitting out there. Now, the thing that got to figure out here is the beastmen are going to go first. So one of the things I'm thinking about doing is having the centaur cast his spell and then getting the hell out of there, because he's really kind of crunchy. He doesn't have toughness like the other stuff does. He can't really charge in and decimate the skeletons because the skeletons have phalanx on them. So that's going to counter a lot of the natural bonuses he gets when he does a charge. I think he's going to try to hit him with spells and get out of there. All right, now the other part of that is I want to make sure I hit with spells that are useful, or he'll have a good chance of actually hitting with. So problem with that is we only get 1 automatic hit. Now we could surge, but that's only 3 inches. That's not a whole lot. I think we're going for the vile swarm here. So it's going to be 4 hits with AP1, but we've got to hit a 5, and we've got wizard 1, so we only get a +1. So I think we're going to try and hit those skeletons with the vile swarm. See how that goes off. All right, so we need a 5. Let's see what we get. 3 + 1 is 4. Not quite. Doesn't quite pull it off there. All right, so at that point in time, it's time for him to run off. So he's going to run maybe 12 inches in the opposite direction. Get out of there. Well, he can run 14, so he can get the heck out of there. I think he's going to move over there by my little face and kind of hide in the front of that. All right. So the next go is the Mummified Undead. And I've got a couple of things I'm trying to figure out what to do. So I do think we're at round 3. We're getting to round 4. I think we need to have those skeletons go take the other spot. If I don't end up doing that, I'm afraid we get to round 4 and things may be dicey as far as that centaur running around and taking spots. We should be able to defend them. The other thing is, if we go take that spot, then going into round 4, we can be potentially blocking both of the spots or putting ourselves in a spot in a way that we can oppose and end up with ownership of one and neutrality on the other one. So we should be able to win at that point in time. So I think what we're going to do first, we're going to go ahead and attack our Beast Lord and see if we can take out the Beast Lord. Downside to that would be the Beast Lord might run over and attack the skeletons. Actually, why don't we do that? Why don't we try to force the Beast Lord to attack the skeletons? I think that's what we're going to do. I think Mummified Undead is going to run our skeletons over here. We'll run them way over here. And capture this point. Be prepared to capture that point. All right, so they're going to be done. That's going to force the Beast Lord to do one. He's going to have to either come over here. Ooh, see, that puts him kind of in an automatic lose position. Well, we're round 3, so it's not the end of round 4, but he really needs to take care of the skeletons, I think, because he's probably not going to take out the statue. It's just too tough. but he could potentially take out the skeleton. So I think that's what he's going to need to do. Problem is he's on the backside over there, and I'll have to see if he can actually make it that far. So let me measure it out and see if he can do it. So he did have just enough to make that happen. So he was able to get there and get engaged with the skeletons, which forced them to wrap around and attack him in response. Had I been thinking a little bit better, I could have the skeletons move actually over to the other side of this, and they would have probably just been out of range if I'd gone their full movement. But I kind of thought that was enough from where he was placed at, so he did manage to sneak in there, and he gets to attack him. Now, he's going to lose his Furious when he runs in there because they have Phalanx. The other thing is he has to take a hazard check. So I'm going to roll a die. If it's a 1, he takes a wound. No, it's a 2, so he didn't take a wound. All right. So next up is he gets to attack the skeleton. So the Beast Lord's throwing. Make sure we're looking right here. 6 dice. AP of 1. His Furious does not happen because he doesn't actually get the charge. So we just get to roll the 6 dice. All right. But 6 dice is a lot of dice against skeletons. So not too shabby. All right, he hits on 3 pluses. So let's see how we roll here. Everyone hit. All right. So the skeletons on the other side of it have a defense of 5. But they also have, but the Beast Lord's got AP 1. So they're going to need to roll 6s to defend against this. Doesn't look very good for the skeletons. So they blocked 1. So that means they take 5 hits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. So what we're going to do is we've got 1, 2. That means the remaining one takes 3 hits. 3 wounds. And we're going to roll to see what happens to him. So with 7, he's going to get knocked out. Boop. All right. He's out. The Beast Lord gets to move 3 inches. So I think what he's going to do is he's going to spin on over to the other side of this. Here. Move him 3 over here. And he's done at this point in time. All right, so that's what that's going to leave us with is our statue. And of course, the statue is going to want to, he's going to want to smite something. So let's see if he can get 12 inches and get rid of that Beast Lord. So I think, yep, he can't quite do it. So he can get up here and contest it, but he can't quite get to the Beast Lord. So he's going to have to stop right there. Now the problem is we're going to go into round 4 and it's going to be a numbers game. Because if the Guardian statue doesn't take out the Beast Lord, then he's going to be able to contest a point while the Centaur runs over on the other side and captures the other one. But there could be a random event, so we'll need to see what happens. All right, so let me clean the table up a little bit, and then we'll get ready for round 4. Heading into round 4, looks like the Beastmen have this one, but I just rolled my random event die, and we came up with a random event. So we're going to have to see what happens. This could be disastrous or great. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to have our purple die be the first one, and then our orange die be the second one, and we get a 43. All right, so let's see what a 43 is. All right, so here we have Snapped Neck. The first time during this round, when a unit rolls a 6 to hit on melee, the target is immediately knocked out. All right, the last side to go was the Mummified Undead. So that means the Beastmen get to go first. Now, with that roll, with that random event, what I think is going to happen is we got to have our Beast Lord run in here and attack the statue. Now it's kind of silly because he's supposed to be made out of stone, so I don't know that a snap neck works exactly, but we're going to go for it. So what we have to do is we have to roll a 6 on a 2 hit and melee. Now, the reason I'm doing that with the Beast Lord is the Beast Lord's coming in there with 6 weapons, 6 dice plus Furious. So he's going to roll 7 dice. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now I'm assuming you don't get to regenerate from that one. So we're going to roll. Oops, one popped out. Oh, no 6s. 7 dice and no 6s. Oh, my chances, my odds should have been, oh. Man, and not only that, that's a horrible roll. So that's a miss, and that's a miss, and that's a miss. So he only hit on 4. Holy cow. All right, so the statue, so you roll 4 dice for defense. He's got a defense of 4. Oh, so he actually takes 3 hits. That was a horrible roll also. All right, so he takes 3 hits. Now he's got regeneration. So on a 5+, these are ignored. So he's actually going to take 2 hits. All right, not enough to knock him out. Oh, I had armor piercing 1 there. Oh, I forgot about my armor piercing. That may have made a difference in a couple of the dice that I removed, but I can't go back and remember right now, so we're just going to have to play with it as it is. All right, so the other thing I want to double check on the 43 is the snap neck. So it's the first time during this round when a unit rolls on a 6 to hit. So it could be that we're in jeopardy now, and the statue is coming back at the Beast Lord with a retaliatory attack. He could get the snap neck. All right, so let's take a look and see what happens here. So our Guardian statue, he hits on 3s. He's got 4 dice. He doesn't get his Furious because he's, hanging back. So 4 dice. He doesn't get a 6. All right, so he's got a quality of 3, so that's 3 hits. And they have armor piercing 1. So I'm remembering it for the Beast Lord. He's got a defense of 3. So he's going to take, so he's going to block 1. So he needs a 4. So he's going to block 1 of the hits. He's going to take 2. So they traded pretty evenly. They both have tough 3, so neither of them knock each other out. All right. That's the end of the Beast Lord's turn. Or sorry. Yeah, that's the end of the Beast Lord's turn, and he's got to back off an inch there. All right, so next up, Mummified Undead's got to make a chance. So he's got to take his shot now and see if he can knock out the Beast Lord. So he's going to advance in. Now, the problem is he's used his attack, so only hits on 6s. But the upside of that is if he rolls that 6, he's going to snap his neck. And it's going to be game over for the Beast Lord. So he's going to have to go for that. All right, Guardian Statue, he has 4 attacks. Armor piercing 1. Plus he's got Furious, so he gets his Furious dice. Plus 1. Attack with a weapon of your choice when charging. So he gets to come in with 5 dice. All right, so let's get our 5 dice going. Now we need 6s because we already hit. Oh, we got the 6. There's a 6 to hit. All right, so he snaps the Beast Lord's neck. Beast Lord is out at this point in time. All right, Beast Lord's done. One of the things I forgot to do was make a morale check for our statue there. All right, he made his morale check. He's got a quality of 3+, so his morale check doesn't matter at that point. So he's okay. All right, that could have given him an extra hit because the undead. No, actually, he automatically passes his morale check. And I roll as many dice as the remaining tough. If I get a 1 or a 2, I take a wound, so no wounds. Okay, doesn't matter. Either way, he ended up being okay on morale. Okay. So that ends up being the statue being done. That means it's the centaur's turn. Now the centaur is going to rush on over to our other spot there. And we'll mark that out. And that's going to end up being the end of round 4. And we're going to have to go into overtime. With round 4 being done, the way we play in the campaign game is games can't end with a tie, and that's where we're at right now, is a tie. Now the centaur went last, which means that our statue is going to need to go first. We do need to make morale checks for both of them at the end of the round, so let's do that. So he actually automatically passes his morale check, so we're actually going to do the whole undead thing at this point in time. Let's make sure we get it right here. So whenever a unit takes a morale test, which is right now because it's the end of round 4, it is passed automatically, then rolls as many dice as remaining tough in the unit. And for each result of 1 to 2, the unit takes 1 wound, which can't be regenerated. Okay, so he did not take a wound. Now, on the other side, we need to make a morale check for our centaur. So the centaur's got a quality of 4. Oh, he failed his morale check, so he's going to flee. All right. So he runs off the battlefield. All right, we could go for another round, but at this point in time, Mummified Undead are going to win because they go over and capture that one. They end up being the victors of this round. So I'm going to have to roll and see how everybody does here. We can go ahead and do that. Let's take a look at our lasting effects. So, also the thing that we need to take a look at is whether or not we manage to hit our special missions that we were after. So the one was casting every round. That actually did not happen. At least one attempt to cast every round. So our champion was taken out before the end, so he did not have the chance to cast every round. All right, actually we do have no enemy units in the deploy zone at the end of the game, so I guess we get honor. It looks like the Beastmen managed to complete their special objective, so that works out kind of funny. All right, then we have our casualty checks. So regular units, for each unit that roll 1 die and check to see what happens. So our regular units that could have taken casualties are going to be our Darrells there. So let's see what happens to our Darrells. We got a 4, which means they're recovered, so they're fine. Oh, actually the Brute is considered a regular unit also. So we'll roll for the Brute. Got a 2, which is recovered. It gave me a little bit of a scare. That was almost a 1. All right, so then we get a roll for our hero units. So our Beast Lord got a 6, which is a smashed leg. Oh. Oh, actually on a 6, it becomes 5 points more expensive and gains a talent trait. So I have a 6, now I get a roll on the talent trait thing. And I get a 5, so he's going to get horrible scars. So it says here, take a look at that. So hero units follow the same rules. On a 1, 5 points cheaper. 6 becomes 5 points more expensive. So I got a 6. He became 5 more expensive. And we get a 5, which has horrible scars. -1 to hit when melee against this hero. All right. So we're going to have to mark down horrible scars for our Beast Lord. And then we need to roll for our new champion out there, our royal champion, and he gets a 5, which doesn't qualify him for either things. Everything goes normal for him. All right. Anything else I'll need to figure out experience for the guys. I don't think I'll quite be up to 5. We'll be getting close with some of the units, but I'll do all that as part of the wrap-up. So looking at our in-game stats here, the Mummified Undead ended up winning the game, so they're going to get 2 victory points, which means we're tied at 2 VPs and 2 VPs for each team. They're going to get 10 points that they're going to be able to spend to increase. I believe they banked 10 points already, so that's going to give them 20 to do something with. On the other side, the Beastmen are going to get a whopping 40 points because they're going to get 30 points because they lost, plus they get the 10 bonus points for having completed their special objective. So they're going to get to probably buy another unit or go for some great upgrades. I think probably buying another unit, because at this point in time, I'm noticing that more units would be very helpful to help capture these objectives and maintain control of things. So I think they'll probably be going for another unit when I get around to buying things. So last thing I need to do is I need to calculate all the experience points that everybody gets and see if anybody gets any upgrades from that. I'll do that offline as we get ready for the next game. But this is game 2 out of probably go to 5, and we're tied up at this point in time. And I really like the 2.5 units, the ones I'm using with the beta rules. Really good. There's an online calculator. I'll put that in the description that you can go to calculate up the units and get yourself some little sheets like I was using. It will actually make it easy to print them out, get them there. Hopefully once those solidify a little bit, I'll make myself some new cards to put out there. But right now the online calculator is really handy. Plus it's good for, it automatically adds the pieces in. As you take somebody up and give them new abilities, it automatically gives you a little chart with their, like I changed the one character from a great weapon to two-handed weapon, so his armor piercing changed, right? The number of dice that he throws when he attacks, that all changed. So put a link for the online tool. This was game number 2. I'll have to do some terrain switching. Note my mother-in-law painted this house right here. Thank you very much to her for that. So she's got some new terrain she's working on for me too, stuff that I've printed with my 3D printer I've got back in another room and piecing some things together. So that's it for now. Please like and subscribe and get ready for the next episode to come out so you can see what happens and who takes the lead in round number 3 of our Age of Fantasy Skirmish campaign. Thanks for watching.